What's up, everybody? What is going on today? It's a lovely Monday. I hope you guys are all doing well today. We got a big show for you guys today. It's jam-packed, jam-packed. We're going to be talking about some very important stuff. Before I do, I'm just going to give you guys, I'm going to give you guys a quick heads up. We are running into some weird issues about our spaces, our Twitter spaces that we had scheduled. For some reason, we weren't able to actually speak and or invite people, so we closed it out. And I don't know what's going on with it now, but we're going to try to figure that out in just a minute. Before I do, I got to do my regular spiel like I always do, because you guys are the most important people in the whole wide world. Don't let anybody ever treat you or tell you differently in your everyday life, whether you're in crypto or not. You guys are the most important people by far. Don't ever let anybody ever diminish that. Remember it always. So I want to thank you guys for taking your time to come watch this show, whether we're on YouTube, whether we're on a competitor platform. It doesn't matter. You guys take your precious time each and every day to come support us and watch and see what we have to say. So I appreciate you guys 1000%. I want you guys to know that with all of my heart. Thank you. I also want to give a quick shout out to my mods. Damn it. What's going on, fellas? Bren, Blau, what's going on? How you guys doing? Wait. They can't hear you. Hold on. Oh, why is it's like updating defaults, everything. Hold on. Hold on. Your microphone speakers. Just say testing 1, 2, 3. Say something.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, there you go. Can you guys hear Bren right now? Give a thumbs up. Can you guys hear him?
I couldn't even listen back because YouTube has like a 30-second delay. It's not like Twitch.
Oh, stupid. But can you guys hear me? What are you guys talking about my hair, by the way? I see you guys talking about my hair and I did not dye my hair. I have grays all over the place, guys. I have grays all over the place still. No, but it's serious. Can you guys hear Blau and everybody? Matt? Yes, you guys can hear him? Cool. Yeah, there seems to be a little delay. We switched things over, so we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants. We did this to be on YouTube because, again, I want this to be as available as possible with the discussion that we're going to be having today. And so again, I apologize, guys. I tried to flip things around a little bit. It is what it is. The more important thing is it's going to be recorded and it's going to be available for everybody. Let me actually try to get this out of the way real quick, guys, and see what's going on with the stupid spaces. Hold on a second. Let me see here. I can always change this in a little bit. Make sure I spell spirit right. By the way, I'm a pleb. And autocorrect makes me look like a pleb. The spirit. S-P-I, 2 I's of Juno. Goodness gracious, guys. All right, let's see here. Record spaces, topics. Start now. There we go. Let me see. I can get you guys in here right now. Let me see if I can get a couple of you guys in here. Hopefully it's working. Boom. Invite sent to some people. My mic is off though. Why is my mic off? What is going on? Bro, I'm getting rugged.
Yeah. This space is unavailable too.
Yeah, what's going on? Okay, I'll tell you what. Do me a favor. Who I'm going to pick to sacrifice if they're able to do this. One of my friends step up.
I think it's because you have one scheduled, and that's why it's not letting you start a new one.
Why is it not? That's stupid. Go here. I don't see any like my scheduled ones anymore. I don't see it anywhere because I dismissed it.
I still see it. Maybe.
Delete the tweet, maybe.
Hold up. Technical issues. Oh, that's why you try to be available. Okay, here we go. 13 hours ago. See details. Let's see if we can start now. We're starting it now. Start now. Couldn't start schedule space. Please try again. Start now. Start now. Couldn't start schedule space. It's stupid. It's stupid. I hate this thing. Somebody start the space for me. Label it the Spirit of Juno ecosystem. Invite me. We're just gonna ignore it and then post it all over the place. Start it. I'm trying. It's a very stupid thing. I don't
Even
understand.
Blau can start it.
Oh man,
See details.
I would
Edit.
say you started.
I
Edit.
mean, I'm not
Sign.
gonna be here the whole time, unfortunately.
Hold on. Hold
All
on.
right,
Okay. Boom. We'll do 9:25. Save changes. It's there. Okay.
you did it again.
So I changed it. Changed the time to 9:25. We'll go there. Can I just start it early? I don't understand. Can I not just start this thing early? Control F5 refresh. Anyway, guys, I usually do have a spiel that I do, telling you guys what the IBC gang is all about and our channel sponsors and all that stuff. We do have channel sponsors for today's video for the sake of the conversation, and we will get this sorted out so that people can listen, hopefully on Twitter Spaces. I don't know. In any case, it is recorded right now. Can you guys work on that? Let me know what the hell is happening when it comes. It's got 1 minute. We'll see. For today's conversation, though, we're going to forgo all of that because we want this to be as organic and as community driven and transparent as possible. This is a very important discussion. Restart the app. Yeah, actually, that would be a good idea. Hold on one second. Let's see if this doesn't work because it's 1 minute per my watch or per my phone. Let me see if I can just start it now. Start now. Couldn't. You're a stupid app. All right. Go away. Go away thing. All right. Now, where would I see if I scheduled it? I just go into there, right? Oh my gosh. Way to make me look like a
Could you not go to your profile and just hit that reminder that you posted at the top?
Yeah, I'm trying to do it right now. There we go. Wait. Timmy's sending me. There we go. Hold on, guys. Start listening. There we go. You know what? I'm gonna share this in 1 second. Timmy did me a favor. He's running it. Invite me as co-host or speaker, and we're just gonna let this run, guys. I'm sorry. I don't know what my problem is with my phone, but it is what it is. I'm gonna request to speak here, and then I'm gonna share it as well. Respond. Yes, I want to co-host. Twitter rugging everybody. Request to speak again. Hopefully this works. We'll get into it in just a little bit. I promise you guys, we're going to just focus on this topic today. So we're not going to be talking about, there we go. Thank you, Timmy. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and put my phone over here. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If you guys can retweet that out, a bunch of issues, right? Bunch of issues as always. But yeah, let me see here. Let's see, invite to co-hosts just in case he has to run. Boom. There we go. So now it's I'm setting it. I'm forgetting it. I'm not going to touch it anymore, guys. If you guys would check out that link, reshare it with everybody because the original link that we tried to put out there obviously isn't working. I got rugged by Twitter. I should have got that stupid blue mark. I should have got that blue mark. Was looking real good yesterday too. All right, guys. So today we're going to be talking about the spirit of the Juno ecosystem, the Juno community. The reason why I want to bring this up is because I've been working on something that I hope changes the course of how we perceive our ecosystem. And I'm not just talking about Juno, but I'm talking about the greater Cosmos ecosystem. And so this is just my way. Again, a lot of people talk the talk, right? But I'm going to try to walk whatever the saying goes, I'm going to try to walk the walk. But yeah, so this is just my way to try to solve some things. And this is, in my opinion, something that I think is a win-win-win for everybody. You guys know I always try to go for that triple plus play, right? Whenever I'm making my positions, I'm always trying to get that triple plus play. And I think this is a win-win-win for everybody. So let's go ahead and just jump on in to the topic at hand. But before I do want to give anybody the opportunity that does want to jump in as far as from Cosmos Spaces, Tenement Timmy, Amanda, any of you guys, there is a Discord. This is going to be an open discussion. I do ask that you guys just hear me out first, and then I would like to get constructive criticism or feedback about what I'm about to propose to the Juno ecosystem in a whole. I think we have a lot of problems right now that's happening in the Cosmos ecosystem. And I think Juno is positioned right now to still correct its course before ultimately, if we don't do anything, falling into the same things that a lot of other assets in our ecosystem are facing. Let me go into one of the big things that I want to talk about right now. And that is, of course, the drama between Atom 2.0, right? This is the Atom 82 proposal. It was for Atom 2.0. Obviously, as you guys can see, it was rejected here, right? It was rejected just earlier this morning. There's a lot of controversy about what's happening. And yeah, I don't even know. I prepped this so many times, guys, and I don't even know where to go with it sometimes. But the basic problem that we're having right now in the Cosmos ecosystem is we like to think of ourselves as a very decentralized ecosystem when we're really not. And there's many, many reasons for this. Obviously, there's very big entities within our space that control a large amount of power when it comes to governance and or decision making, and or even the social sentiment of our ecosystem, right? A lot of people hold a lot of power, and I'm not trying to go at war. I do want to set the stage right now and let everybody know, everybody that ever watches this, I am not here to go to war with anybody. I'm not here to start battles or burn down villages with anybody. I'm here to build. I'm here to build with the community from the ground up organically, just like Juno should be, right? Just like the Cosmos should be, especially Juno for that, but with that. So I do want to let everybody know, while I'm saying everything here in just a little bit, I'm not trying to come at you guys with pitchforks and torches or anything like that. I truly am trying to work with everybody. So with that being said, and not to get into the weeds of all the problems that we do have right now in our ecosystem, I'm very, very concerned about the current standing when it comes to Juno. Juno is a relatively infant in our ecosystem, much like everything, right? But I have a very, very big soft spot in my heart for Juno because of the way that it was introduced to the ecosystem, the way or the essence of which it is meant to be used and worked. And that is, obviously a permissionless smart contract built from the ground up with the community, even deployed with the grassroots movement at hand, trying to minimize, big fish delegations or manipulation earlier on with the launch. Now, we did go through a lot of things. It is what it is. We went through a lot of things. None of it was perfect, right? But the essence of it all is supposed to be just that. What I'm finding happening right now in the Juno ecosystem is that a lot of very top-heavy inner circle groups of individuals who all have for-profit businesses or primary interests at hand in which they are benefiting financially, seemingly are controlling a very big portion of the direction of where Juno is going. And again, I'm not saying anything. I'm not trying to start a war or pick a fight or anything. I'm just stating the facts. I'm just stating the facts right now. We'd like to think that Juno is a very decentralized token or project, but it's really not, guys. A lot of the core 1, core 2, inner circle earlier on, foundation, delegation, there's so many ways to go about it, but if you look at the validator list for Juno and you look at the decisions that's recently been had, it's been made by a certain few, and we are just pretty much at the whim of that. I think amongst many other things along with that, there is right now still time to change our course, and so that we don't end up like Atom. And I think if we don't address these things right now, as a whole, as a community, we're going to end up just like Atom, trying to find a value for the Juno token, trying to find a new monetary policy for the Juno ecosystem, and many, many other things. We're going to be fighting an uphill battle if we don't address these really, really big issues up front. Let me go in right now. FYI, our space is on Interchain. If I was mistaken, it's been pushed back 30 minutes. I appreciate you guys. I feel like I'm not doing a good job. So if you guys, again, if you guys would like to join the conversations, please just jump in our Discord. Our mods will see you guys, whether you're in general, and pull you guys in here after giving you speakers. Because I do want this to be a very organic thing. I'm going to show you guys something here in which I think is one of the biggest problems that we have right now in the Juno ecosystem, and how I think we can address this organically. Okay. So yeah, and again, I apologize, guys. For whatever reason, I'm usually not nervous, but I feel like I'm super nervous right now because of many different reasons. But whatever. Let me just go ahead and jump into the proposal that I've been working on. Okay. So I think right now we have several big problems in the Cosmos ecosystem, not just Juno, but in the Cosmos ecosystem. And that is decentralization and maintaining the health of validator list in many different chains, especially right now. Since we're talking about Juno in Juno, I think also we have a marketing problem throughout the Cosmos, not just with Juno, but throughout the Cosmos. I think we also have a very bad problem when it comes to centralization of decision making being made within the Cosmos. Again, not just for Juno, but this is a proposal for Juno. I'm just saying in general, this is all of our problems. And then we have a lack of participation from the inner circles, from the ecosystems that are in the Cosmos ecosystem when it comes to supporting the entities, the individuals, or the teams that are actually pushing the narrative forward organically and from within. And so I want to address these four things along with one of the biggest things, an actual true value argument for the Juno token over a long period of time, because right now I don't see anything really being used when it comes to Juno. I don't see any transactions. I don't see any kind of use for the Juno token other than swapping being had right now. And so I want to fix all of these things. And I've come up with, I think, a really, really foolproof plan way of doing this from the inside out with the community without, just trusting and giving all the power over to one side in our space. Let me go ahead and just read this to you guys. Yeah, everybody can see it here. So it's called the Spirit of Juno. Allocate 200,000 Juno from the community pool to support a marketing effort, reduce the circulating supply, and increase the community pool while also giving the Juno token a true value argument long term. The mission statement is to spread awareness of the Juno ecosystem and onboard new users, developers by creating educational and marketing content while also helping maintain a decentralization. While also help, of course, I'm getting like the jitters talking to you guys. While also helping to maintain decentralization within the validators lineups and reducing the overall total circulating supply of Juno. Again, this is kind of repetitive with a lot of things, but I'm just going to go through it formally. The objective is to support a truly organic community effort to help manage a healthy validator lineup, establish a marketing fund to support community content creators, create a source of back-end pressure to reduce the circulating supply of Juno over a long period of time, and increase the overall community funds pool. Keep in mind, guys, I'm not trying to spend any of these 200,000 from the Juno pool. That is a very, very big detail that you guys have to remember while I'm talking to you guys about all of this. This proposal is not to sell any of those community pool Junos, but actually just use it in a more sustainable, maintainable, and realistic way to create a value proposition for the ecosystem over a long period of time, along with all these other extra added benefits that we seem to be struggling with from within. Going into this, I'm going to just show you guys my key points here. One, the validator decentralization. Doing so with the 200,000 Juno would be helping keeping white knight validators who run efficient operations are engaging in the community sustain themselves within the active set. Delegations can be applied for by meeting certain criteria, just like, if you guys are unaware with this, just like the delegation sub-DAO that just recently passed. A lot of you guys probably don't even know that, or maybe have voted for things, but not really even got into the details of it. But we have many different sub-DAOs that are recently being passed, which I do think is a move in the right direction. But if you get into the details of these sub-DAOs, again, they're presented and controlled by a very small amount of inner circle groups within the ecosystem that all seemingly, or I should say the vast majority of them, have a already for-profit business that they count on within the ecosystem. So Yeah, I'm doing a horrible job at this. Am I not? I'm doing a really, really horrible job. Brand Blau, am I doing a horrible job?
You're doing all right. We got Timmy and Joe in here, by the way, as well.
Can we hear them, fellas? Are you guys here?
Owen,
Hey, hey, hey! Can you guys all hear them?
should should I unmute my mic on Twitter when I talk? I assume you don't have it set up to like pass that through
Yes.
the Twitter space, right?
On my, I'm hearing it right now. Yes, I
Cool.
can hear it.
Joe, feel free to come up to, if you want to like get into some combo here and want it to come through on the Twitter space, just request to be up on the Twitter space stage. I just want to say real quick for anybody that knows you tank or even some of your like background, obviously being pretty fully doxxed, it's pretty out there. I actually think it's a little bit cute, but also a very important sign that you're nervous at all. It goes to show how important this is and how much time you put into it.
I'm very, very nervous right now. I don't know why. I'm usually not, but I'm very, very nervous.
No, and you aren't ever. So I think that goes to speak to like how important this is. Would you mind sharing your screen on this call just so that like
Yes.
Joe and I and the mods can kind of follow along with what you're looking at without having to have 50 windows open?
Yes, yes, yes. Definitely can. Definitely can. Let
Cool.
me see here.
Yeah, while you do that, I guess I'll just kind of shout out like an analogy that I think is really good with what you want to do with these funds. It's actually very similar to Angel Protocol's Locked for Good program, which I think is just really, in a general sense, something that we should think to do more with proof of stake coins and even secondary tokens that have like emissions worked into them, where basically you are using the yield. So these 20,000 Junos would be staked. Eventually,
200,000.
yes. Eventually, these 200,000 Junos would also be returned, and it is only the yield from staking them that is spent on various things that I'll let you get into more. But I think that's a good way to look at it. Angels kind of already has that model figured out, and I think it's a great one. I think it's a very sustainable way to extract yield from emission-based tokens and L1 native tokens and stuff.
Right, right. Okay, so yeah, I see. I feel better now that you're here and other people are talking
got
as well.
you.
For some reason, I'm going to be very honest, guys. The reason why I'm nervous is because I've said this a few times, and again, I'm not trying to go to war with anybody, but I'm just calling things out for what they are. I'm known for doing so, guys. I don't pull punches. I just call things out for what they are. I'm nervous because I don't want this to be taken as an attack from me or from the community at all. From these really good like individuals, like they do good jobs. I'm not going to name any names, but they do good jobs. They work hard. They've got us to where we are currently, and so I'm nervous because I don't want to set the tone of like, I'm here for violence. Like I'm not here for violence. I'm here to build. And I want what's best for the community. And I don't want this to, in any kind of way, by the way that I'm presenting it, kind of diminish that possibility of this actually happening for the community, because I truly, honestly, with 1,000% of my heart and soul, really do believe in this. I think that this is a really good idea and a way to go about building a stronger position for the Juno ecosystem and for the Juno holders and the people that actually believe in Juno throughout. Validators, delegators, everybody. I think this is a really good way for everybody to win long term. And so I'm very, very nervous for that reason. But I'm going to go back into this and kind of
I think, if I can jump in real quick, sure. I think supplement or supplemental is a really good word to keep in mind during this whole conversation. Like, this is not instead of anything else. This is not claiming to be better than anything else. This is just supplemental. It's more. Why can't we do more? Why can't the community have more of a direct input and a voice? More like across the spectrum of representation in systems like this is always better.
Right. And especially, to kind of build on that, another one of these, before going any further, one of the big reasons why this is very important, if you guys don't understand with what's currently happening within the crypto landscape, there needs to be checks and balances. There needs to be a balance in our ecosystem. No matter where you're standing in our ecosystem, there needs to be zings or there needs to be zags, zigs to people's zags. There needs to be yings to people's yangs. There needs to be the opposite side. There needs to be darkness and light, right? I'm not saying the other side is darkness at all, but there needs to be balance in all things. There can't just be one side that just gets, to make all the decisions, that gets to do everything without any kind of check in play. There needs to be things that hold everybody accountable. Even the opposite side in turn needs to be held accountable by the opposite, right? And so this is just one of those things that really help in decentralization and help us as a community in whole do just that. With all that rambling that I'm doing, I'm gonna just try to stick to the points and read this off without my nerves being rattled anymore. But yeah. So what we're going to be doing here with the 200,000 from the community pool is we'd be staking it. We'd be staking it to validators who are white knight. I like to call them white knight participants within our validator lineup, doing a great service, who are engaging with the community, who are participating in governance, who are running good practices for their validator setups, right? Like there's many, many different ways that people run validators. They could do, straight physical hardware. They could be in-house like bare metal, or they could be renting cloud, and they could have all these different mechanisms and ways to secure what they're doing for their delegators and whatnot. We're trying to actually help those great white knight validators who are doing a great job in our community, in our ecosystem, in our lineup of validators, stay within the active set, because we're seeing right now, especially with this downwards pressure throughout all of crypto, especially proof of stake, obviously networks, a lot of shifting being had and a lot of good actors. I'm just going to use one that I don't know if he's here or not. And this has nothing to do with them in this, but I'm just going to use them as a great example. Cosmos Spaces recently just fell out of the Atom validator lineup. Is because a big fish took away their delegations at the whim of market conditions. And so I think, in my personal opinion, those kind of teams, and not just Cosmos Spaces, but those types of teams, those types of individuals, we should find a way to help support them with other chains that they might be delegating or validating for delegators on. We can't have those types of teams being thrown to the wind and not coming back because they can't find support from within the community. And I'm just going to throw it out there, guys. If you guys hear names, I'm not going to war with you guys at all. I'm just stating the facts, right? Notional has been known to help several teams in the past get into many different chains on the active set. Is because they take, their assets and they'll help them for a period of time, but then a lot of times, especially, if push comes to shove with their own for-profit business of running a validator, they might have to actually pull those delegations from those teams that, now they found themselves in the active set, but finding it really, really hard, or if at all impossible, to maintain themselves in the active set. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's unfair, but it's definitely a practice that we need to get away from. We need to find a way to help maintain validators and validator teams that are white knights in our active set that are valuable long-term, stay in the active set long-term. And so again, as you guys can see here, I kind of put together an example of how we can do that with the 200,000 from the Juno community pool. We would split up, in my mind, 4 positions of 50K delegations and stake them with qualified selected validators who meet the criteria that we set forth for a minimum of 5 months to a maximum of 1 year. Of course, this could be adjusted before revaluation. Validators will be able to use the rewards to sustain themselves by staking and paying for expenses, and then hopefully also, taking some of those rewards that they're getting and self-staking and making their own positions while hopefully getting more delegations from the community. So that's the number one thing that I want to do with the assets from the community pool. The second part of this, guys, and remember, we're not selling any of the assets, we're just using them in a more efficient way, is through us staking 200,000 to really good validators. What we could do is we could help start funding a marketing fund or even a tooling fund, right? For like, say, I'm just going to be real, guys. Like if anybody, and I know there's a lot because I recently put in a grant, a request through the Juno grant system. I didn't find any support. I didn't even get a response, to be honest with you. And I'm not out here with a pitchfork. I'm not out here with a pitchfork or a torch or anything like that. I'm not. I'm just calling it for what it is. And I can tell you that the honest truth of it right now is I've had many teams, like legit projects, not just like people who are talking heads, but many people slide into my DMs and tell me that they found themselves struggling to find actual, conversation being had when it comes to getting their grant request, even brought up, let alone approved. And it's because maybe, we're struggling to have, funding that is lasting, is sustainable. I don't know what the problem is, but by taking 30% of the delegation rewards that we get from staking to these validators, we could slowly over time start funding organically from the community, from the ground up, a marketing fund or even a tooling fund to help these people get the grant, get the support that they need from within. The next thing is, with the reduction of circulating supply, we could also take 30% of our delegation rewards, guys, and create a true measure of value for the Juno token. Like, we don't want to end up like Atom, where forever people are going, yeah, well, what's the true narrative, or why Atom should ever go up. Like, that was, if you guys haven't been around for a long time, that was like the big thing, is like, why would anybody want to hold Atom? It doesn't do anything. Nobody uses it. No, like, there's no scarcity. There's no nothing going on. And let's be honest with you guys right now. Right now, we've been funding, and it's, again, if you hear your names, I'm not out here trying to burn you guys down. We've been funding protocols and projects that really haven't returned anything to the Juno long-term stakers and believers. The people that are here buying Juno, what have we brought in here really, honestly, other than maybe a handful? I'm not being biased at all, but I'm being very real. This is facts. Go look it up yourself, guys. How does Juno get used as far as transactions? There's really only two things. Maybe very, very rarely for NFT purchases, but really in that sense, all they're doing is kind of swapping at the end, right? Because, right, the platforms probably either holding on to it or swapping into a stable to maintain themselves. So not really doing anything with Juno, or you can bet with it using Raccoon Bet. Like, that's the only thing right now you can really do with Juno right now, other than swap it for another asset, hold it long term, get a staking APR or something like that. There's no like narrative of value for the Juno token. What happened with Ethereum? Ethereum had to find a way to actually make Ethereum deflationary, right? Why are we not discussing this on the forefront? We need to find a way, while it's great right now, but we do need to find a way to start a slow drip of back-end pressure for the Juno token, reducing the overall supply earlier on. I've been in business for 20 years, sustainably in profits throughout all of that. I can tell you right now that is what we need to do. With every fiber of my body, I'm confident that that's what we need to do. We need to have some sort of back-end pressure slowly dripping, reducing the overall circulating supply for Juno. And so what we could do is take 30% of the delegation rewards again and just throw it to a dead wallet, get it out of the supply. It would be so minimal right now, especially, but over a long period of time, it would definitely help price go up narratives, right? It would definitely help with the value position narrative that everybody worries about. I don't care how involved you are. Everybody wants to know when price go up. It's not going to unless we find a way to actually use Juno. I'm going to give you another example. We've spent tons of money financing and bringing Loop over. And I have friends over that Loop. Nina, like all of you guys, like, hey, I'm not coming out to you guys, but we bring projects over here that create their own microeconomy and do nothing for you can't even buy NFTs with Juno. But we brought Loop over here, spending a whole bunch of Loop. They cash it out, right? And then what they do, they bring Loop token into the game. You can buy NFTs over there with USDC, or you can buy it with Loop. You can't buy it even with Juno. What did it do for Juno? Oh, we got an airdrop for Loop tokens because we're Juno holders. Whoop-de-doo. What are we doing with the Juno token though? Nothing still. It has done nothing for us. Look at Lavana. I'm just calling it out. I love options. I love futures and all this other stuff. What have we done, right? What have we done for the support that we put out there? What kind of value are we getting back for doing what we've been doing? Zero, my friends. Zero right now. We need to stop doing these kind of things and actually think about maintaining and sustaining ourselves over a long period of time, realistically from within. We got to stop doing this stuff. And again, I could go into many, many other things, but there's questions to be had, right? Why would this be? Why would these things be? Who's making these decisions? Why is it beneficial, do you think, for all these other people to be doing these things? You got to ask yourself these things. And unfortunately, a lot of these decisions and approvals have been happening from the same people in the circles above us. I'm just being real. I'm not out here being with the torch or anything. I'm just stating the facts. There's been no real presentation of true value position being had or being front ran for Juno holders at all. So let's actually reduce some of it over a slow amount of time. You wouldn't even notice it right now. You wouldn't. 5% is nothing. 5% at this, like, and the price is fluctuated. It'd be about $5,000 a month, give or take. But over a long period of time, when inflation starts going down, right? When we start getting into those 1%ers and stuff like that, after the third year and stuff like that, it's gonna start leading up, especially when we get into the 12-year, you know, when delegations or lockup periods unlock. It's gonna matter. It's gonna matter a lot. So anyway, that's number 2, or should I say, number 3, and then number 4, the more important thing, guys, with us asking as a community, not me, as a community, asking for 200,000 Juno to use to support White Knight validators, create a marketing fund that's sustainable, maintainable, and also, you know, maybe even used for tooling and other teams that want grants or support, while also reducing the circulating supply, creating a back-end pressure of price appreciation for Juno holders. We could also return more than what we borrowed, because 30% of the delegation rewards over a long period of time would get returned back to the community pool when we're done using it. I'm just saying, for examples, let us use it for 2 years. Let us use it for 2 years, and we'll give you back all of the 200,000 in the community fund pool plus 30% of our delegation rewards. It's a win-win-win for everybody, guys. And then, of course, there has to be, you know, whoever it is, and it's very transparent. I don't know how this goes just yet, and I don't even know who's approved onto this. This is for the community to figure out, right, and to help me work out. But, of course, there needs to be compensation for the people that are managing this. Of course, I'm going to put my name in the hat. And if you guys don't like it, find somebody else that can give you a proven track record that has no actual ties or their fingers in the honeypot in different value propositions within the ecosystem, right? Find somebody else that doesn't have a validator running right now that are on some of these other sub-DAOs. Find somebody else that runs multi-million-dollar businesses that can prove it. Go ahead, find them. Find them. That's the thing that I'm really getting worried about, is we have people who are running validators, running you know, even projects and whatnot, who are sitting on these sub-DAOs making decisions. How are you going to keep your fiduciary duty to the community to protect our best interest when you have a for-profit business running? You can't. And that is the hard truth about it. You can't. Because if you run a business and you're at all trying to hope that it's for profit, when push comes to shove, you better protect that for-profit business, or else, I'll tell you right now, you're not a good businessman or woman, or else I wouldn't want to be in business with you anyway. Or else I wouldn't want you to be making the decisions anyway for the community. If you're being honest with yourself, that's the honest truth. You can't hold multiple seats and then say that you're going to hold everybody's position in the ecosystem at the forefront over your own. You're not going to do it. You're just not going to do it. If you do, you're not running a good business. You know? And if you say you are, you're lying through your teeth.
Hey, so I noticed the Cleomedes account is trying to talk in the spaces. Just to shout out whoever's on there, Avi. This is really just sort of an audio tap into the YouTube. So like if you talk here, no one on the YouTube stream will be able to hear you.
Yeah, and my friend, you can always join us in the Discord if you find my mods or Timmy could always send you a link or whatnot, and we'll get you up here, because I do want to get your guys' feedback after I go on my rant. I know I've been ranting, guys, and I know, like I said before, I'm not out here. It seems like I'm attacking right now. I'm not. I'm just a very real person. I'm up front. This is supposed to be blockchain. This is supposed to be transparent. This is supposed to be open, right? Don't trust, verify kind of thing. Real conversations. I want to have a real conversation with the Juno ecosystem, with the community. This is true.
I know Avi, who I assume is on the Cleomedes account, you're doing some running around right now. So if joining the Discord isn't an option, feel free to also shoot me or Tank a message, and we can just like read that and go through it and tackle it so that everyone can hear. We definitely want to like get everyone who wants to speak. That goes for anyone, actually. If you have thoughts here and like you don't want to join the Discord or whatever, shoot us a message. We'll be happy to dive into whatever.
Yeah.
This is
and
the entire point here is community
things in
driven.
real quick?
Yes, please do.
So couple things. You had brought up the loop before. Just so you know, they actually did just move in some NFTs. It's a small group of them that are going to be paying with Juno. I believe
That's good
that's
news.
going to happen more and more as people move over. It's tiny. Like I just checked, and they literally have only sold 70 of them. So it's not. It's worth mentioning, but I don't want you to,
No, that's good news. I didn't know that.
it's at
That's
least
that's
brought
very
up.
good news. Thank you for letting us know.
And that's one of the things because I was the way that I look at Juno and the way that I look at Adam. Both of them are going to be just a place where you can go. You can get all of the tools that you need to really build up your chain, and then they just continue to build on top of it. And I just look at Juno like that is the form of Cosmwasm, where you can kind of get more of the wild, wild west of stuff versus Adam, which is more blue chip. It is just how I kind of look at it. Um, but I'm finding a lot in this ecosystem, like with Loop, they're just starting. I mean, they started in a bear market 2 months ago, and they get attacked all the time.
Oh, and I'm
That's
not
one
trying
of
to
the things that
attack.
kind of
I'm
makes
not
me
trying to
sad.
attack
Oh
them at
no no no
all.
no
Yeah.
no, not you, not you. More like Don Kryptonium. Like he'll go on long ass rants about why he does not like that, and that's who I'm talking about, not you on this. So but it's one of those things where I'm kind of like, the whole point of these ecosystems, in my opinion, is to help other people build, which is going to make us all stronger together. I kind of like it's kind of like this last thing where they're like, "Hey, we need to pull all funding from Loop," and I'm like, "Guys, they've dropped like 5 or 6 new things on in their ecosystem, and they're continuing to grow. Yeah, but they're new, so like give them a little bit of slack and let them grow." And this is again not towards you; that's just others. The other two things that were kind of worrying me, and this is something that happened with Adam 2.0. You've got it was 4 large wallets that attributed to 50% of the no with veto.
Yeah, we were just talking about that in
To
earlier
me,
spaces.
that's crazy, and that to me that scares me a little bit. I would more think that we have to figure out a different way that we can kind of we need to let people that have tons and tons and tons of Atom or Juno, they earned it or they got it somehow or they purchased it. They need to have benefits for doing that. But I think at some point it needs to taper off a little bit. Like after 100,000 Juno, you get this many votes. And yeah, if they end up having 10 billion wallets, it is what it is. There's nothing that we can do.
Right.
But that 4 wallets picking that to me that's nuts.
It's scary. It's super scary, and I can see, this doesn't this
Feels slightly differently.
Yeah, this doesn't, but it does. Go ahead, Timmy.
I feel like this is the system we signed up for. If you don't like how proof of stake works, that's a whole other discussion. But unfortunately, this is the system actually working exactly as intended.
Yeah.
The people with the most skin in the game, who have paid to have the biggest voice, are using it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not making any statements one way or the other. This is how proof of stake is supposed to work. It's not proof of voter,
I would push back slightly when you look at Takumi or Game, who did not purchase. Yep. They don't have the most skin in the game. They literally got them as an airdrop, where I personally am under the impression, I feel like they were holding funds for multiple other people. They should be considered a SAX, or I don't know how to pronounce that.
Right.
But yeah, so that they're not, they don't have the skin in the game. They literally got that in there, and then in my opinion they were taking advantage of the people that were there, because if they don't know about that airdrop already and they're making, like when Juno was printing money at the very beginning, their people should have been making a ton of cash, but they weren't, because he was just kind of funneling it. So in my opinion,
totally agree with that. Slightly. Yeah, totally agree with that. The one note I will make is that personally, I think Takumi would already be gone if his intentions were purely to make money. I do think he actually has a interest in the cosmos. Whether people agree with it is a different question. But nothing you said there is false, and I wouldn't push back at all. Totally agree.
Yeah.
Right. And then the one final question I had, your validator, because I agree completely. I love the idea of having different validators. Like I have a ton of money in Cosmos Spaces right now, and it's inactive, and that sucks. And having the ability to help validators that are giving to the account, it's kind of like a Cosmwasm or the that guy on. He doesn't really do anything, like, or Wasmington on what is it? That one validator, and he just doesn't really do anything. And I'm sitting here like, there's a lot of really good validators that could get in here and actually help the space. But we have to remember too, that somebody made a post yesterday, and I've been trying to find it and I haven't yet. But they have to have so many delegations to make a profit, and we have to make sure that these people, when they are going out there and they're doing all this work, that they do make money. So I think that there should be a minimum commission on all of these change so that we can make sure that these guys make enough money to run it and they're not losing cash. But that's just my take on it. Hello?
Hank, did we lose you?
No, my mic was
Oh,
muted.
I'm here.
Problems,
there you
problems,
go.
problems. So again, I'm just going to repeat myself again. For everybody that is having a problem following along on Twitter Spaces because you guys can't hear the discussion being had on YouTube right now, apologies, I didn't think of that. What I want to kind of get back to is, let me ask you this: as far as what I've just presented, using 200,000 of Juno from the community pool to sustain validators within the active set who are white knights who meet a certain criteria. Also reducing the circulating supply through the delegation rewards that we get from staking with these validators. And then also reducing the total circulating supply by taking 30% of that and, basically just burning them. And also what do you think about all that? Do you think that this at all has any kind of drawbacks, or do you think that there'd be a reason for anybody, even the top entities that already, are doing similar things because, Dimmy just started the delegation sub-DAO and whatnot. Do you think there's any reason for any of them to ever come back and have pushback from a community effort such as this? This is basically, in my mind, that's why the community is saying, let us have a voice. Let there be other options. Let there be zigs to people's zags, yangs to people's yangs, and whatnot, amongst many other.
I think it's great. I think it's great. I think it's that we can go and we can help a lot of people, and we can help people that are actually contributing to the ecosystem. The only big thing I think is that we got to two things. One, we got to make sure that they don't get slashed, because that would be awful.
Right.
If all of a sudden we just lost a ton of Juno with that.
Well, I think that's like anything, right? Like even with the ICF, in comparison with Atom, and then like the delegation sub-DAO, you have to do your homework. Like the people that are on this, this group, this council, we definitely have to have criteria, and we definitely have to have our homeworks, and they'll have to submit, right, and show that they, one, have good setups, they don't miss blocks, they're good stewards of the ecosystem, yada yada yada. But there's obviously like a risk, as always, with any of them, whenever you delegate.
Yeah. No, but it's important. It was kind of like what I was talking about with Cosmos Spaces. Those guys, like, they do a ton for the ecosystem. I cannot believe that they're not in the active set. So if we're able to help different people and they continue to grow, the more money that they're making, the more they can do for the ecosystem. So I'm all for it.
Okay. What do you think about reducing the circulating supply?
To me, I was more of thinking on the long term. I personally would just keep it going the way that it has been, and then because I believe Juno, if I remember correctly, that does cap in a couple of years. Is that correct, or am I wrong?
It's what, 12 years? Isn't it supposed to be like 12 years or whatever? I don't know what it is. Is it? No,
because right now in the fair market, I mean, it would be really nice to remove some of that stuff, but in the future, I mean, I'm just looking at it like in, let's say, 12 years. Are we going to have enough in there? I personally would just kind of let it roll the way it was and just kind of go from there.
My thinking was, and not that obviously it's me presenting this is like I want the community to give feedback so that we can work on a actual agreeable presentation before putting it on, because I do want to put this on Commonwealth, but I do want to get this to be a grassroots, community engaged kind of proposal into where we take everybody's feedback into reason and realistically present it to the community to vote on. So I'm not saying that I disagree or not, but the way that I was coming with that is, if you use the examples of fraction, like there's Satoshis, right? Like everybody's like work to get to 1 Bitcoin, but there's infinite zeros. And so long as there's a value, that we could always do that. But that's kind of what I was thinking. But I do understand what you were saying. Like, there is a cap. Eventually it'll run up to that. But really, if you create a backend, I'm Asian, so I'm always using the soy sauce pour analogy, like putting your finger on the stopper and creating a drip instead of like just letting it fall out and being reckless. But But yeah, like that's kind of where I was coming with that.
Hey, Tank, so a couple things. One, in case you're curious why I'm still here. So
Sure.
us at Spark did have a Spaces with Staken scheduled for right now to discuss
Apologies.
interchain info. No. We moved that back 30 minutes because I think these are both incredibly important conversations. So that'll be starting in, like 22 minutes instead of 8 minutes ago. But before now and then, while I'm still here, maybe, so I think it might be good to break this down a little because I think your idea here has a couple different parts that are all important, but like are fairly separate, right? So maybe I'll play a little bit of devil's advocate, even just for the lack of people coming up and participating in the discussion. And let's just like go through each of these chunks of funding and
Sure.
like kind of separate them in people's minds. So I guess let's start with number 2 on your sheet. So I think, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, is this sort of where the core of the idea started, right? Is that it would be cool to have a fund that we, as the community, can dictate the usage of to promote marketing, content, education, etc.
Yeah, no, it actually, to be honest with you, to be very, very honest with you, a lot of it came from it's just the market conditions, right? It was a number of things happening back to back to back to back to back. Like, yeah, we have like it's always been for me. The reason why I have IBC gang is because I think Cosmos does a piss poor job, to be very honest with you, very frank, at marketing. And I think every, even the good ones within our ecosystem still, in comparison to our outside of the ecosystem, we all do a piss poor job with marketing. So yeah, I would be lying if say like that wasn't part of the biggest reasons, to do some of this. But it was more so, what really set me off was, when I saw certain validators struggling to stay into the active set for, just I don't want to say it's manipulation or whatever, but for silly reasons, just for, I guess it's not even silly because different strokes, I just got to do that. But like, it's just, we need to find a way to support ourselves from within instead of always looking for the outside means of value accrual or long-term sustainability from outside supporting us. Like, we need to find a way to do this from within, and nobody's actually addressing that. So this was my way to try to address what I thought were some of the biggest hindering factors right now, not just in Juno, but this is the one that we could do it on more than likely. But yeah, it wasn't any one thing.
So, so let me recap overall for the audience, and especially people on Twitter who are not seeing your stream. And for anyone on Twitter, if you want to pop onto YouTube, he's streaming there and you can see what we're talking about. But it seems like there are sort of 3 distinct chunks to this. One is a way to further support validators that deserve it and therefore help decentralization on the network. One is to create a community source of funding, community controlled, for content creators, educators, marketing, etc. And then the third is to put some sort of down pressure on Juno's circulating supply with this sort of dead wallet, burn wallet type idea. Would you say that's accurate? Those are sort of the 3 chunks to this?
Yes. And then, of course, to one of the other ones that I think is very important as well, when we're done with this, because this isn't like one of those set it, forget it, let us have it for forever. After the agreed upon borrowed amount, I'm just saying 2 years, return it and have more in the community pool.
Yep.
So that we don't end up like Adam.
Timmy, can I ask you a question quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're going to know a lot more about this than I do, because one of my other takes on this, if my information is wrong, please smack me with it. But my thought process was, for some of these people, like the Cosmos Spaces, they're pretty close to the active set. If we were just to increase the active set by 25 additional groups, and then put a minimum where like we had so much commission that had to go to them based on that, so that they would become at least close to profitable and have a chance to grow, would that negate some of these issues? Because I believe from what I read was that the transaction speed is only going to drop insignificantly, but you're going to know more about that than me.
I don't claim to be an expert here, but I think, the transaction speed element, I've heard mixed things about. I'm not sure how much of an impact that would have. I'm definitely not like dev savvy enough to answer that. But I think part of the problem with that solution is that aside from distributing rewards more, you're not actually really tackling the root issue at all, because if a validator right now is in the inactive set, if we expand the active set simply to make them active, that doesn't change how little their voting power is compared to some of the top dogs that were in there
Gotcha.
before the expansion. You know what I mean? So it is a step in the right direction, but I actually don't think it's where the focus should be, because it is like a child's bandage on a pretty bad wound. So it is better than nothing, and it's something that should be explored, but it's definitely not like, oh, if we just do this, suddenly everything's good.
I'm curious.
In my opinion.
I'm curious to know, because I've been rambling, and I'm sorry guys, I apologize. I'm so good at rambling. Sometimes I get lost in my thoughts when I'm rambling. For the people on Twitter Spaces and also in the chat on the live stream, give us your reaction. Like, do you guys think that this is a good idea? Do you guys think this is something worth pursuing as a community? Do you think that this would be beneficial? Granted, again, I do want to say, of course, this isn't perfect, right? This is just my initial draft. This is what I've thought. This is what I think we can do. There's definitely many things to iron out and get right. And maybe, like Timmy was saying, maybe we, fractionalize this. I think, in my opinion, the reason why I bundled it, and I'll be very honest, I've said many times before, I hate when proposals are kind of bundled. In this certain situation, because we're not looking to spend or do away with the 200,000. I think this kind of gets, and I might be biased because it was my thought, but I think this kind of gets a little bit of a pass when it comes to bundling things. I think the power that it provides when it is bundled allows us to do much, much more as far as like the three major things, along with supporting good validators, right? But what do you guys think? What do you guys think in the chat? Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. Is this just stupid? Are we going to get and I guess I was still very nervous too. And I want to be very frank and let everyone know. I have people that I talk to who I consider friends and like cordial. Like I talk to them on a pretty consistent basis that I think this might actually piss them off. But I'm a community member by far before anything, right? Like I'm in the trenches with everybody, and I'm just trying to find a very good way for us to maintain ourselves, sustain ourselves realistically, and not give all the power over to one side and then find ourselves years down the road going, fudge. What did we do? We didn't address this when we had a chance. What do you guys think?
I've owned 5 or 6 businesses since I was a kid, and I, in my opinion, this is a small price to pay for the chance that this could be very beneficial for the ecosystem. I own a couple of the, and honestly, I would like for you to run it just because I trust you, which is, it takes a lot for me to kind of earn trust, but I wouldn't just keep my money sitting there if I didn't trust what you were doing and trust that you had the best ideas or that you're going to be doing the best for the ecosystem. I would just say, look, we got to try something different. It obviously is not working perfect right now. The more that we can do to kind of gain and do more for the ecosystem, it's never a bad thing.
Yeah, and I appreciate that.
Relatively low risk.
I really do appreciate that. Yeah, and I seeing some of the comments in chat. Yeah, I agree with you guys. There's a lot of things like we didn't even go over the criterias for validators and marketing, and it's very hard. Can I
jump off that, Tank?
Yeah,
actually,
yes,
I've gotten a couple questions in DMs, and I just want to shout out. So, anything on here that lacks specifics or clarity or seems open-ended is not oversight. That is intentional. That is why we are having this discussion. This is like a work in progress thing. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Tank.
No, absolutely. This is why we're doing it, because
so this is definitely not something that we would just take and go put on chain as a proposal in its current form. There's lots to think through, but that is intentional, and it's why we're doing this. So just wanted to shout that out.
Yeah, I want this to be a true...
Hey, we got Avi in here.
Hey, what's
Cleo.
up? I really do want this to be a true community. Like, it's just like the ethos of Juno. Like, it's supposed to be from the ground up, from the community, and it's supposed to be a movement from within. And I think these kind of proposals should definitely be just that. In fact, from even to the small details of criteria and, what that might look like. I want everybody who's a Juno staker, or even, well, you got to be a staker to make decisions, right? But everybody that holds Juno to have some sort of say, to be actually like feel accounted for in what's happening long term, even short term within our ecosystem. Right now, it's just that I don't feel like that. And I
Also,
even
guys,
have people.
that is the whole point of Juno.
Yeah.
Juno is not a revolutionary new technology that makes all other blockchains look like shit. It is not, anything else in that realm. What Juno has that makes it special is its Genesis distribution, its general level of decentralization, and its community sort of oversight and engagement. And that cannot be taken for granted. And so something like this, Tank, the reason when you first spoke with me about it, I kind of immediately was on board. This is the essence of Juno. I love everything going on with other funds and DAOs. We have the marketing DAO, the growth sub DAO being transitioned from the Terra one. Stuff is all awesome. But it's not really run by like the core grassroots community. It is some of the big players that have made a lot of big decisions. And in many ways, that puts them in a better position to make certain decisions. They have more knowledge than you or I in certain things. But that's also vice versa true, right? We have our own perspective. We have our own benefits to bring to the table. And that's where I really like the word supplemental. Like, this is just a beautiful addition to everything else going on Juno that, in my opinion, is the perfect representation of what Juno is at its core and why it's special.
I just want to add on that. You nailed it. This is to complement the efforts that are already there. Like, I'm not trying to, I've said all this stuff. I'm not trying to come at anybody with a pitchfork or torch at all. This is literally to complement, to give, a yin to their yang, a zig to their zag, and to give like balance and options for everybody. I really do think if everybody was to look at this, in a grander picture on a larger scale, this just helps everybody long term. Like we didn't even get into some of the other conversations that I've been kind of toying in my head about, and also, wait, before I go on, I do want to say I asked for counsel from both certain individuals who, yes, they do have Spark IBC is a validator. Timmy does have ties to Spark IBC, Cosmos Spaces and Little Gains. I did ask for their opinions, but like everybody else, if you want funding, you have to ask, and they can't be. One of the biggest things, guys, is whoever sits on this seat. And in my mind, I think 5 is a good number. It could be up for the community to come up with that. You can't have a direct tie to some sort of position that you might be finding financial benefit from by being on the seat. Like if you run a validator and you have ties to it, I'm sorry, you can't be on the seat. You can't. I just think that it's more ideal for us, not just socially, but financially, if we have at least the opposite happening. Because if you look at our sub DAOs right now, it's filled with and full of people who are in those positions. And so it's kind of like, how, not to say how far can you trust them, but it's like when push comes to shove, if a decision gets made, where's your interest going to be? Is it actually going to be for the community, or is it going to be towards your for-profit business? If you're in business and you're a businessman, I hope it's for your business. I really do hope it's for your business. And then, so if that's the truth, there needs to be at least another option. I'm not saying do away with them. They're beneficial, but at least have another option out there. For me, as somebody that was looking for support through the grant system, once I got shut down, there was no other way to go about doing it. There was no other way to go about finding any kind of support. Who's going to support you other than validators or other projects and stuff like that? Like, who's going to support you? There's no other option. If you have a delegation sub DAO right now and you just don't get it, well, guess what? From the community, from the Spirit of Juno sub DAO, you might actually have another viable option of going about supporting yourself. There's no, there needs to be outlet. There needs to be more than just one, And I think the community should have a say in it.
Hey, Tank, this is Little Games.
Hey,
can you hear me, bro?
Yeah.
So so this community proposal just embodies everything that we need right now. That we need to show people that are already involved in our space and that we care about them. We need to show them that we really do. I mean, everybody's been working so hard. But we have not been able to show them that they're worth it, that they are appreciated. I know we have the launch communication sub DAO, already on Commonwealth, right?
Mhm.
Oh,
But
hey,
that's
Gaines.
yes.
Would you mind coming up on stage with the Cosmos Spaces account so people on Twitter can hear you as well?
Oh, I
Is
can't.
that too complicated? Okay, don't worry about it. I don't
Oh,
want to throw you off your flow. Apologies to
sorry.
everyone on Twitter. Definitely pop into the YouTube and we'll try and summarize too. Continue. Sorry though.
Thanks, Timmy. I know we already have the communication stuff down on Commonwealth, right? But what is that really focusing on? That's really focusing on just the people that are already in that little circle that are going to try and market for Juno, which is fine. They can go ahead and market for Juno. They can go ahead and ask for these funds to go to conferences and have booths. But we need something different. We need something that's organic, that's community driven 100%. That community has a say on what to do with this, what to do with that. And if we get this done sooner rather than later, those people that are already working really hard in our community are going to feel rewarded, and they're not going to go anywhere else to ask for funding. And that's all I got to say, man. I've been holding them back so much because this is just a beautiful idea, man. Beautiful idea for the entire community to really get involved in.
I appreciate
And I don't care. Take myself. I don't care if I'm not going to be part of that. Of the multi-sig. But I do want to see the community getting involved in this proposal. I really want to see the community showing its strength because we need it, man. We need it. We need it badly.
Yeah. I appreciate you.
Super.
And
Super quick wrap for
Go
the
ahead,
Twitter
yeah,
people.
go for it.
Gaines just basically in the live stream and through Discord, the YouTube live stream, Lil Gaines just sort of beautifully echoed some of our sentiment of just existing solutions are great. They're doing their thing and there's value there. But this is like a needed shift to represent the community and be community driven and actually grassroots. And I'm sure I butchered it a little bit there, but just to fill in the Twitter people on what you put in, Gaines.
yeah, there needs
Thanks,
to
Timmy.
be
That
there
was
needs to
great.
be a supplement. There needs to be a complement for that. Like again, I'm not trying to burn nothing down. I'm not trying to go to war. I'm trying to show that the community, there's options. There's like realistic, maintainable, sustainable growth options that can address all of these issues that we've always struggled with, that everybody that I've ever talked to all express to me every single time, but for whatever reason get ignored. And, I don't want to go into why I think those reasons are, but they get ignored. And then again, like this is, this is the big kicker. We're not trying to sell any of the original 200,000. In fact, we want to return back more than what was asked, but we are also trying to fund, help, and maintain good validator lineups, and doing so would help support better practices for teams that do validate and relay and do all these services, these great needable services, and also help maintain an olive branch of sorts showing from within the community that we do support the people that are out there supporting us organically from within. Like content creators that are out there, not just me, all these small content creators that are out there trying to do your thing, trying to everyday participating in spaces, making content, whatever it is, right? Like, of course, we have to find the criteria. We have to find like, who knows what makes, what's fair and stuff like that. But at least it shows an olive branch, and it's nothing, man. Do the math right now at the current prices. Right now, you're talking about $5,000 a month. Maybe, we bankroll it for a little while and kind of build it up a little bit, but you could go to someone. I'm just spitting out names of people that I know. Not saying I'm not favoritism. I don't know. You'd have to submit this yourself. Like Spark IBC as validators, Cosmos Space, you'd have to submit it yourselves. And then everybody else that's on there has to vote. Like any of the people have to vote. And even like like talking heads that are out there, like the Cosmos Joe, he does a great job. Smaller channel, not monetized on YouTube, does content or tries to bring on, I think he's expanding now more than NFTs and stuff like that. What if he was covering like Juno focused NFTs and stuff like just every once in a while, just show like something that was focused. And then you got like $500 a month for 3 months. That's not for a lot of us. That'd be massive. That'd be an olive branch to show community engagement and support on a massive scale. It doesn't need to be thousands of dollars. It could be the small token olive branch representation of support coming organically from the community, not like big entities, right? But from within, showing that we actually do believe in ourselves. We can support ourselves. It would go a long way. I think he just had a kid. Can you imagine what $500 extra would be for somebody small channel doing effort like that just had a kid? It would go a long way. And like Gaines would say, would support that person going, hey, you know what? I'm actually getting support here. I'm going to keep doing this stuff. I'm going to keep pushing the narrative even throughout all the drama. I'm not saying like Joe would have to put in his request as well per criteria and stuff like that, but it would go along with. And then talking about, I wanted to leave this out because I wasn't sure how anybody was going to think about this, but I'm a big believer in what Angel Protocol is doing. And I was listening to the social, feedback on what they thought about, 100% validators or a validator or entity that's charitable like themselves, being in the active set for validations and stuff. Imagine, guys, just imagine for a second, all right, how it makes us look. And I'm telling you right now, if you can't kind of imagine it, just remember what real big, like traditional companies do. They give away to charities all the time. Why? Because it looks good. You could put a step. We could take 50K, get them into the active set. Let them do whatever they want to do. Because we get from their stuff, right? Like from all the other ones still really, really well. Let them run for a year. And then say after a year, maybe, okay, you have to, give us, whatever it is from that, like a small stuff, but let's support them regardless. Let them get the delegations from the community over time. But let's just say you for a whole year, you don't even have to worry about that 50K getting rugged from underneath you. It's not going to go anywhere. You've got it for the set a lot of times. So long as you meet the criteria, you maintain your validator, you participate in governance and all this other stuff. Maybe as a charitable thing, you might want to abstain a lot of times, but whatever the primary parameters may be, you get to put a sticker on the Juno ecosystem as supportive to entities that are charitable. What other ecosystem gets to do
do
that?
you mind if I share some ideas and just
please do
talk about the general proposal? Thanks, man.
Yeah.
So unfortunately I missed like 20 minutes of combo. So if I'm like saying anything it's already been said, just interrupt me and let me know and I can move on to my next point.
Go for it.
But first of all, I just want to say that this is 100% something that's needed. Like, I don't think you need, or anyone needs to justify this proposal. It's clear that Juno's been missing this for a long time. And I mean, Jay Cardinal himself even said that the community is the moat in crypto, right? So if you lose your community, like you said, if you have content creators who are no longer engaging because they don't have the funding and they're not seeing anything come back to them, then we're going to be screwed in this next bear market, because what happens? You lose people. And we need to keep that momentum going. I guess the other point I wanted to make is, I don't want to make this about Clio Medias, but we've been trying to do this. And I think one of the things that we did recently, we were able to support Spark IBC with a 5,000 Juno delegation. The only reason we were able to do that is because we've been accumulating rewards since like April and stopped selling. And so that was kind of our way of finally being like, look, this is feasible and this is possible. I mean, luckily we have runway of funding to purchase all of our hardware and run our nodes at home and all of that stuff. But you got to put your money where your mouth is, right? And I think that 200,000 Juno, in fact, is a great starting amount. It should be increased over time. But a couple points I wanted to make about the specific things in the proposal. Like, I think we need both, right? We need this and we need the sub-DAO, the growth sub-DAO. Yeah. I like sitting in on some of those meetings now. I'm starting to actually see the fact that even though there are a lot of big players on the DAO, they are asking projects directly, how is this going to return value to Juno stakers? That has become the basically the last question that we ask, something that we try and get clarity on before making any sort of decision. So at least I will 100% advocate for that, but it's already being advocated for by some of those big guys. I think it's really going to be a collaboration with the community doing something like this, and them continuing to make sure that they're asking that from projects that are moving in. I know you're going
to go on, but I just want to say 100% agree with you. I told Timmy them this, I think it was last night or whatever. This doesn't work without them, guys. This is to complement what they're already doing. The sub-DAO and all the other ones that they already have right now is great. It's a step in the right direction. I'm, again, not trying to burn anything. I'm trying to work with, but I think this doesn't work without them. This stresses so much more value with them. We're trying to build with them and complement each other. But yes, I agree 100%. Go on.
Definitely. And I'm saying all that stuff, not because I'm saying that you're trying to work against them. I'm just trying to paint some color for the people who are listening. Because, I mean, I wasn't even 100% sure that I was going to get selected for this sub-DAO. Like, both me and Timmy were kind of like trying to get on this thing. And at the end of the day, I was just like pretty jaded. I was like, oh, this isn't going to work out. And somehow it did. And so I can't share like details about like the meetings and the funding round and all that kind of stuff, but
Sure.
I can tell people and reassure people that it is, I guess, being implemented the way that they claim. So that's a good thing because we know for a fact that we are working together. The other thing I wanted to add around this burn mechanism, I don't know how I feel about destroying value right now at current levels. Like this burn mechanism always sounds like a good idea, right? Because
it has to be small. Like it has to be like, and again, it's just kind of like a draft right now. Like in my mind though, it would have to, if it is implemented at all, and I'll be very honest, guys, I'm still on the fence about it too. But if it would have to be so minimal, but if it is there, it would have to be really minimal.
So one thing I'll add is, I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but once you burn a token, you can't unburn it, right? So what I think would make a lot of sense is if we want to go forward with this idea, but we're not 100% sure if we want to permanently burn the tokens, we can place those tokens in a vault and say that, they're intended to be burned at a later date. But if we decide that that's, not in the best interest, we don't have to do that. It's just a very permanent thing. So we don't need to make a permanent decision for something that, might not be 100% beneficial to us.
I didn't even think of that.
Because again, like the other thing that you said, which I think is great, is, you're going to be paying back the money that you're taking. So this is basically like a community loan, right?
Yeah.
And what we're saying is like, we want a 0% interest loan so that we can support validators, content creators, etc. And I mean, you can strictly plot out and graph out like at a 5% commission rate based off of like, the amount of Juno that we're getting to this validator, you can expect an ROI of X amount of months.
Yep.
It's very easy to predict this kind of stuff. And we can decide how much of that should go to validators, content creators, whoever else. So I think the main thing I want to say is, as a signaling proposal, this is amazing. I'd love to help you flush out some of the stuff if you're open to it.
Oh yeah, by the way, chat, everybody listening, this is very much a signaling proposal. This is like a rough like draft of a signaling proposal. So yes.
Yeah, but it's super important, right? I mean,
this is not ready at all.
but what you're doing, first of all, I don't think I said this in the beginning. I want to give you like mad props for coming up and saying this. The reason why you were nervous is because, like, even though you're calling out things as they are, it's still scary to do that because there's a lot of people in this ecosystem that have a lot more power than we do, and they can exert that power on us. I'm not saying that they're going to, but I'm saying it's a potential outcome. So of course you're nervous.
Sorry, I gotta jump in here. The fact that Tank is a little nervous, and the fact that you just call that out, is exactly why props like these have to be thought about. Props like these are going to help get rid of that fear.
Yeah,
so
I agree.
It is kind of concerning that people are afraid to do this kind of thing.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll second that because I was nervous speaking out. Like I run the Claymeaty's Twitter account, and some of the stuff I put in the thread, I'm like, well, I hope we don't get fucked. Like this is scary. And fortunately we've gotten lucky. We've been working with Timmy, the guys at Steady Crypto, on Spark and Interchain Info. Like I think there's a lot there, but again, like we've been running into the same issues that Tank has with funding for public goods. Like people keep saying like, we want to fund public goods, which like where's the evidence of that, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I think this has a lot of potential. I think that as long as we're able to kind of present this in a way where it's very clear like what the ROI is over time, and it also expresses the fact that they are building a moat by keeping certain people in the ecosystem. Like I'm not threatening to leave or anything, but I mean it's just a fact, right? Like engagement dropped in a bear market. Right now shit's hitting the fan. So this is like 100% in their interest. And if it doesn't pass, there are still other ways that we can do this. I mean, again, like I'm not shilling for Claymeaty's, but like this is what we're trying to do. We want to reimburse contributors. We're not at a place right now where we can do that at a very high level because our revenues are not quite as high as some of these other validators. But as long as it continues scaling the way that we think it can, this model can 100% accomplish its goal. So I think we should put this up as a proposal, like after we refine it. And if it doesn't pass, it's not over. Like there are other avenues that we can take to get this done. So thank you for putting this together, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. I really don't think, and then again, it's just me because I've been working on it for forever now. But like, I just don't, and I hope that the other, or higher, bigger circles and other DAOs that are currently up right now, like, I hope they see the benefit of it, because it really is kind of like it's a collaboration. It's to supplement them as well, and to grow everybody together, like in an organic way. It's not to compete. I don't see why this would, like, why would anybody, if you were even the higher ups, like, I just don't, like, it almost goes to the point where it's kind of like, if you said no, what would it be other than it's because it's not us?
It would be concerning if they
Yeah.
said no, I think. And then it would also, I guess, the other thing that the justification that they could potentially relay is like, hey, the bear market, we got to preserve funds, blah blah blah. But again, what's the chain if you have no community? Like, you need a grassroots community to keep this.
Yeah, and it would be kind of like, you can kind of see and use the Atom example right now. Like, if the greater community wanted it for Juno, but then you kind of override that, like, it's a community pool. It's the community's funds to do what they want to do with it. It's like, I could see if you're trying to pull it from other places, but it's literally the community pool. The community gets to decide what they want to do with this. And if, like, you say you know better because XYB, other than, like, I don't know, maybe there is a real reason financially not to spend this that, would make sense, but I just don't know. I feel like this is a win-win-win for everybody, including the other side, including the other DAOs, including the inner circles and devs and core ones and stuff like that, all the protocols that involve. I think this is a win-win-win for everybody. I just don't see how this is a battle. I guess there's many details that need to be ironed out. There's many different questions that still need to be answered. And admittedly, guys, especially when it comes to criterias, like, I do not think, like Timmy was saying and like Gaines was saying earlier, it wasn't an oversight. It was purposely left out because it's really hard to figure out criterias when it comes to, and that's probably why ICF and like the delegation sub-DAO are going to have to do similar things, if not why they've been doing this that way. It is a lot of times on a case-by-case basis. And so, I know everybody wants it has to be this, and fair. But a lot of times it's going to be on a case-by-case basis. And so we have to stress the importance of having people that are going to be on this board that don't have those direct ties of some sort of weird benefit financially or even socially, to be honest with you. There's a big social power trip as well. Maybe it doesn't benefit them financially to be on these, or holding these seats and stuff like that, but maybe it really benefits them socially and they can get their agenda done on a social level. So they're going to, say certain things or act certain ways or, vote a certain way. We need to find people who are competent, who can show that they actually have a good understanding of what, sustaining a long-term business venture is. Again, I toot my own horn, but and let the community pick those people. Like, you have to show that you're competent. You have to show that you know what you're talking about and not be biased to be on here. And that's the only way that this really works. And so, yeah, I appreciate the feedback, guys. Like, anybody else in the chat or I don't know, I'm not even looking at Discord, have anything else you want to say?
I'm looking forward to seeing some of the familiar faces in our community on that board, like, for real. Like I said, guys, I don't care if I am or not selected. I want to see the cosmonaut that is always in our spaces, that's always in the live streams, always sharing information. I want to see them on that board.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, also I want to add to that, like, this is like, it's going to be kind of a part-time gig. It's going to require work, right? So if you have people from the community who are willing to do that, it's been great. But I don't really think it's a problem to have someone like Lil Gaines be on this thing, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, okay, they run a validator, but like, look at their track record. Like, it's going to be a lot easier to look at someone's track record and what they've done in the past, and make a decision about who they are, both from the social and monetary standpoint. And I don't know, I would rather have these grassroots people on this board if we aren't able to, for whatever reason, like, get a bunch of community members on this thing. So I think it's actually okay. It's not a massive conflict of interest, as long as we look at people and what they've done in the past, and if their intentions are clearly good based off of those accomplishments.
35-hour spaces, man. That's all I gotta say. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was insane.
We're not doing a 35-hour or 24-hour space at all.
By the way, shout out to everybody that helped organize that 35-hour Twitter space. That was so killer, man. That was awesome.
But so yeah, so again, I feel like if I keep going on, it's really at this point, it's I've presented it, and to go any further would pretty much just be me beating a dead horse on the idea at least. I shouldn't say that on videos. Look out, Peter. I'm not like being serious. It's just a saying. But yeah. So again, guys, if you guys like this idea, please reshare this on all social media so that we can get awareness out there to the fellow cosmonaut, or excuse me, fellow Juno holder or participant within our ecosystem. So used to saying cosmonaut all the time. But I really think this could do a world of good for our ecosystem, inside and out, and also like just benefit everybody from the top all the way down. I really do think so. And so I'm looking to, I should have said this. I should have said this as well. So I just want to say another one of the ideas, and one of the things I was really fearful as well is like retaliation. I could put up the proposal for this. What 1,000 Juno to me is whatever. But I think they left. Did Spark IBC leave? Did Timmy already leave? I thought maybe a good idea.
Yeah.
I thought this was a crazy, I just had this the other day. This would be a crazy idea to show the power of Spark IBC and what they're doing. If we get the details correct with this, and the vast majority of the community want to see this actually go to a real proposal, why wouldn't we just put up a campaign to where 1,000 people in the Juno ecosystem could all put one Juno in there and fund the proposal, and then if it passes, they can all get it back. Like I would even refund it with a incentive too. Like if you guys want to go out there and give you like a little bit more back or whatever. I don't know if that's like.
Do you think we could do that with
I'll
Spark?
speak for Timmy and say that they'll 100% do this, and we will also contribute funds if necessary.
That way, if anybody comes out in opposition to it, like with a no with veto, like we're currently seeing, know that you're just not punishing one person. You're punishing
Not only that,
everybody.
but that would show such a great strength in the community that they all want to be a part of it. You know, that would be amazing if we could get Spark to help us out, do a campaign.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But yeah, that's it. That's what I got for today, guys. No charts, no nothing. This was like a true heart to heart about the spirit of Juno, and something that I think would be very, very beneficial. I would love for the community to stay engaged and help get this done. But yeah, it's up to us, guys. We can't be reliant on everybody else. This is on us. So cheers. Thank you for everybody.
Tank, quick question, just so like as a kind of carbon action, like if people want to get involved and they want to help, work on the proposal, what do you suggest that they do right now? Like join the Discord, maybe you're going to create a channel where we can talk about it. Like what's the game plan?
Yeah, definitely join the IBC Discord channel. We'll put we don't have one up right now, but we'll definitely do that here in a couple of minutes when we get off the show. We'll create a space there to where right now I've just been getting advice from everybody in a small group chat in Discord, but we can do that. We can just kind of direct people there, get people's feedback in an organized fashion, and kind of just build this from there and push it forward, hopefully.
That's awesome, dude. Thanks again for doing this, man. This is really important. Glad to have you leading this charge.
Thank you, guys. And don't forget
for the culture, guys. All right.
For the culture. Don't forget, guys. Like the video, subscribe. Got to put that in there, guys. It don't cost you nothing. Subscribe. Let's get it out there. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's video. Appreciate y'all. Peace.